All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see for these two Google searches, one local and one city level. If either or both of them have BSS. And y'all already know we're back here in the GBC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pin video, home video, somewhere around here. And that is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Over on the left, the highest intent people, easy people, searching on Google, searching on social, social search, Google search for boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And highest conversion rate, closest to the money. So we talk about here, BSS is the videos we make about. And over on the right, the lowest intent people, they ain't searching for boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. They are actually, they are actually not even able to search that because most of them don't even know what boudoir is. So lowest intent peeps, got to reach them through interruption ads on Facebook or Instagram. And our sister brand we talk about that is Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, and we talk about BLCS over there. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. So when boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, I mean, we're dying here. And that means 0 slots page 1 means we're page 2 or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. So they're page 1 and done searches. And that means we're not being seen, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market, which is actually the bulk of the market. 1 slot on page 1 Google, that's not good either, because there's 10 organic slots, page 1 on Google. There's 9 other slots. Let's say there's 9 other boudoir photographers. So we got 1 slot, same as everyone else. We look the same as everyone else. We're not standing out at all. A boudoir buyer is actually just going to click down all 10 links and contact every boudoir photographer, drive the, compare prices, drive the prices down as much as possible, negotiate, margins collapse. So we cannot have only 1 slot on Google page 1 either. Next, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's common, it's accepted, but it's not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. There's 2 deeper root causes. First one is market saturation. Basically, everyone knows about this one. Like just over time, people get new iPhones, people get new cameras, new gear, and they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they now offer boudoir photo shoots. They throw up, their website saying they're now a boudoir photographer. They post in the mom groups on Facebook saying they now shoot boudoir. So more sellers for the same number of buyers make it harder and harder for every single seller. Now, the one that most people do not know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. This kind of, automatically accepting or not really questioning that, yeah, every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google. And yeah, maybe my website was ranked 8th page 1 on Google. Then we had some market saturation coming in, and now, now I'm on page, I'm the second option, slot 2 on page 2. And it's like, well, that's market saturation. That's what happens. But I hope, that, basically I hope they delete their website and Google de-indexes them so Google can bring me back on page 1. And so this is this is like kind of accepting this is actually a false belief, because what I figured out is Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days using this new methodology we developed. So the false belief of page 1 quality is exactly that. It's a false belief. Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Next, a boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So we got our micro universe brewing here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered that BSS is actually treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. And what's special about this is, well, first thing, how it works is exactly how the name says, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest boudoir buyer and the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city, making sure we show up there. That's kind of like the snow on the top of the Andes Mountains in South America, on the backside of those mountains, the eastern side. Because what happens down there is that snow melts into small streams, small rivers, and eventually it all floods into the Amazon River. That's Google page one. The snow at the top of the backside of those mountains, that's social search saturation. So we got to start with the snow, social search saturation to dominate page one Google search. And again, this is the exact methodology I use to go from 0 to 10 slots page one on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days. Now, what's special about this strategy is this is the only strategy I've seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation and allow boudoir photography business to continue to grow, even without, basically in a relatively quick time frame. The second option that is out there is having a large, massive brand, but that doesn't satisfy the relatively quick requirement because that takes like 5 to 10 years. And interestingly enough, I believe this strategy, SQ methodology, can actually speed up creating a brand by approximately 8x kind of normal methods because we're on so many different surfaces being seen so much. That's, we're really hammering the mere exposure effect here, in our city's minds, kind of as a secondary benefit to getting these page one slots on Google. And, let's do an example here, SQ methodology. So let's say we're in Tampa, Florida. There's 1 million boudoir photographers in the market. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they shoot boudoir. Everyone's fighting for page one Google search. We're like, do these competitions and saying our only chance, well, since we don't have a brand, large known brand, our only chance to effectively compete here is, basically it is to utilize S-cube methodology. So what we do is we crank it up to the max. So we crank up S-cube methodology to the max, and let's say we get the first 300 slots for social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city, and those flow down onto Google. Let's say we get the first 300 slots on Google as well, and each page is 10 organic slots. So we're taking up basically the first 30 pages on Google. So basically anywhere a boudoir buyer looks in our city, we're taking up, let's say, the first 300 slots, any surface they search, social search, Google search, whatever search. And so if we're essentially the only one boudoir photographer they can find, whose business is going to be growing in this marketplace? Obviously our business is going to be the only one growing. And so the other 999,999 other boudoir photographers, competitors, they're all disappearing, they're on like page 31 of Google. Like, or if we know approximately 80% of peeps ain't even hitting page 2, we already know there ain't nobody going to page 31. So this is a, kind of an example, like ultra extreme version of how this can enable a boudoir photography business to grow in the presence or in a market getting more and more saturated over time, and even in the face of larger brands. Now, once true with the SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. So initial benefit is, obviously we're getting more slots page one Google search, but the second benefit actually a lot of boudoir photographers say they like this second initial benefit the best. So every time we take that new slot, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. So we're putting them on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. They're page 1 and done. So we're effectively disappearing our competitors where we can control if they disappear or not. And a disappearing boudoir photographer is kind of the flashing light, the warning signal that their boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing as well. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where the GBC universe recommends hitting a recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google. And hitting that recommended minimum is because basically every other boudoir photographer is going to have one slot page one on Google. So if we got three, I mean, we're dominating them right there. If they, ultra rare case, they got two, our three still dominates them. So we want to hit 3 out of 10 page one slots Google search. Now, boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. This is our full micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Okay, all well and good. We understand that now, but now we have a solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now for my results using this S-cubed methodology was I wanted to rank and dominate page one for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. Now the organic slots here, that's what S-cubed methodology is for. So let's go down through them, see how many I got. So first one, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So again, I'm from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. So these are my results that I got utilizing this strategy. All right, so now we're going to look at the main event here. Going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its local search, Boudoir, California, and its city search, Temecula, California. All right, let's check this out. All right, so first search in Boudoir. So here we go. All right, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. Boom, we got 4. Boom, we got 5. All right, we got 6. 7. Sponsor, that doesn't count. That doesn't count for our 10, so awesome. 7 out of 10. This is what we got. This is what we need. How many competitors did they kick off? Up to 6. They ain't being price shopped against no one, or very, very few. They ain't being price shopped against 9, because we already know approximately 80% of Google searches ain't never going to page 2. So 7 out of 10, fantastic. Now we'll look at our city. Closest one there's some Lake Elsinore or something, but I chose Temecula to do the city search, bigger city. So let's see. Let's see how we're ranking here, pulling in people from Temecula. All right. All right, we got 0 in Temecula. So it looks like we're actually we're missing pulling people in from Temecula. So we do got BSS. So we don't have BSS for the local search. That's good. And we also hit the GBC minimum 3 out of 10 for local search. Perfect. But we definitely do have BSS for the city search. We're at 0 out of 10 slots there. And we definitely did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots for the city search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done your local search, you've done your city search, either have BSS for one of those, or you're not meeting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for one of those. And you realize this means you're starting to disappear. A disappearing boudoir photographer. This is the first kind of flag, the first kind of warning light. If we start becoming disappearing here, eventually the business becomes disappearing as well. And you're seeing S-cubed methodology like, yes, this is exactly what I need. This is what you've been wanting to use or wanting to have as a solution for a while. And you've already broken out the false belief of page 1 equality. And you understand market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear, okay. And you're loving the initial awesome benefits, S-cubed methodology, more links page 1 Google, kicking more competitors off page 1 on Google, kind of making them become disappearing boudoir photographers. And you're looking ahead and you're seeing, since you understand market saturation, you're actually seeing that AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs more and more over time. So it's literally going to be kind of bringing in a larger and larger amount of boudoir photographers over time. So you're realizing you got to fortify your position on page 1 on Google, not just get it right now, but actually kind of build up even excess links in the back end in reserve. That so many links out there that actually prevents any future competing boudoir photographers from getting on page one either. And you're saying, okay, S-cube methodology is also the only thing you see that can accomplish that. So it's kind of a near-term extra benefit. And you want to achieve boudoir search page one visibility, so that you become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you know you need those things in order to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also understand the future back-end benefits of becoming the #1, or of utilizing S-cube methodology. Is basically the first one is you're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of like plugged into your brand, plugged into your business name, your website, your social media handles, or kind of like spokes, hub and spoke, plugging these different spoke columns into your brand that actually bring, that actually eat up mind share in the back end Google AI kind of like mind brain. And so, that every day we successfully execute S-cube methodology, higher chance you'll be getting recommended here AI overview, because you're basically bundling up kind of these, these building up repetition, authority, relevance, frequency, age of these invisible thematic keyword columns that takes up AI mindshare, which also increases the probability of recommended AI search. ChatGPT growing AI search growing every single day. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Google search is still, approximately 90% of global search, but AI search is literally growing every day. It's what I use most frequently. It's basically just give me the summary. I don't want to click through it after reading and figure these things out myself. And I know last time I did search for boudoir photographers in a city that I got 3, and then I went searching myself on Google, and there's like approximately 60 in that city. So I'm like, okay, we definitely got to be building momentum here, increase the probability of recommended in these 3 slots. And you're seeing, okay, S-cube methodology is the only thing that will build these invisible thematic keyword columns for you to achieve this increase in probability of AI search being recommended for AI search. And you're also understanding that, my current plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city. So you decide, hey, you're going to jump on this first, get all these initial benefits, box out your competitors so they can't use me, build up this kind of invisible momentum gap with your competitors to where, we can get it to where essentially they can never, ever catch up to us. And, the converse, if your competitor were to work with me first, that you'd actually have to go rederive or derive S-cube methodology for yourself. And then you'd have to go execute it. But you would never be 100% confident putting in the time to execute it, because you would not know if you've even derived it correctly in the first place. And, when you'd have to equal our execution every day with me and your competitor, and that's simply to maintain the gap. To actually make up progress, you'd have to double or triple our output every single day using the system I invented, and to close that gap, be able to basically pull that AI mindshare back from me and your competitor, kind of those invisible thematic keyword columns. And who's got 80 hours in a day to do that? So you're like, screw that. You've decided you're going to be first mover of your city to actually get all this stuff done. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. My DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed, not taking any new patients. But when my DMs do open, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for utilizing our S-cubed methodology.